off with a ready with knight f3. So this makes me a little bit worried that she's not going for the pawn pushes right away, but this might be part of the theory that she learned.
Yeah, so I mean, she's obviously going to go knight f3 and g3. This is actually exactly what I showed her. So this is
if it's part of preparation, then that makes sense.
Right. So basically what I showed her was basically try to get the king out of the center. I mean, I'll tell you exactly what I showed her after Forsen's next move, which is that when black puts the 2 pawns in the center, you push the pawn to d3 to stop black from going e4 here, and then next move you castle the king. So far, I know that the Xchocobar is in preparation. As far as Forsen goes, I don't think he normally plays this setup per se. So I don't think I've ever seen him have to face this opening. So it's going to be interesting to see what Forsen comes up with here in terms of his next couple of moves.
Right. And one thing about the setup that you taught Xchocobars is it's less common. Usually people who are starting off play e4 or d4. So do you think that her opponent having less familiarity with that line gives her any advantage?
I think certainly this is a very good start, considering that Forsen is definitely the higher rated player. Getting him out of something that he's comfortable with at the very start of the game certainly should be to her benefit. Obviously, I expect. Well, I don't know. I wonder what Forsen will do here. I feel like he should probably develop the bishop and castle the king, but at the same time, he likes to play gambits. He likes to do stuff that has like a straightforward plan, and I don't see a straightforward plan here for black really, other than developing castling. So I could see this. I could see this being a relatively slow game here.
And in terms of what you taught Xchocobars, it's really fun to see you predict what she's going to do. What was the next plan after she castles her king?
I think the next plan is to play knight c3 and e4. Those are probably the next 2 moves, or to play. Oh, Forsen plays e4.
You called his style very well. He likes those aggressive moves here. Although in this line, Xchocobars is going to be able to exchange queens and either make Forsen retreat his knight and lose some time developing, or take with his king and not be able to castle, which usually feels pretty uncomfortable for...
Oh my gosh, he blundered right into... Oh my gosh, he just trades the queens here.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, he's going to be down a pawn at the start. Oh no. Oh no. Knight g5 and knight c3 and white's up a pawn.
Yeah. So she's...
No. Sorry, I'm following the meme, but this is off to a very, very bad start for Forsen. He's still very much in the game because he's only going to be down 1 pawn, but this is
she saw it. She played it so quickly. How long has Xchocobars been playing chess for? This is really impressive.
Probably like a week or so. The only problem is I literally showed her this position, so that's why it's not.
Oh, you showed her this particular queen trade and an idea to attack the knight?
Yes, this exact position.
All right, you're a wizard. This is the second time you predicted a game in this event.
Yeah, so I mean, here what she should do is she should take the pawn with the knight. Knight takes and bishop takes, and white's up 1 pawn, but it's a very balanced position still. A lot of pieces on the board, a lot going on. So the game is definitely not over at all, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. So she's going to be up a pawn. She's going to have the white pieces. She's still the lower rated player among the two. And on top of that, she has 2 minutes up. So if you had to give some kind of prediction or odds for this game, given the current situation, what would it be?
I would say it's still probably, as I said at the start of the game, I think it's probably 80-20. I think Forsen probably is about 80% favorite, and I would say Xchocobars is maybe 20%. I would say it's still roughly the same, even though she's up 1 pawn. Although, actually, the fact that there are not queens on the board certainly diminishes the ideas of attacking with your pieces, because generally you want queens and rooks to attack the opponent's king, and here we're already in an endgame. So I think that actually diminishes the odds of a Forsen, like a real attack. I still think the game is very unclear, but without queens, it's going to be harder for him to find tactics.
Fair enough. And now the next 2 moves or so are pretty straightforward for both sides. They have some pieces that are not developed, the minor pieces for Forsen, the bishop for Xchocobars, as well as getting the rooks into play. Is this an opening, or I know we're in the end game, but these are opening principles still that you expect them to see?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, when I try to help out any of these streamers, it's about trying to follow plan, develop the pieces, get the king out of the center. I try to do something that I think they can remember, something that's relatively simple. It's not a hard or difficult plan to see. So yeah, I think so far Xchocobars is doing very well. Forsen, I mean, this was always my sort of the one thing I've noticed in Forsen's games that has been a big weakness is that he likes to play very aggressively at the start, but then he's sort of, if he doesn't get the big attack, he kind of loses the steam very quickly in terms of trying to find the right ideas. So that's the one thing I would say that is maybe my one critique of Forsen is that he doesn't really, if he doesn't get the right attack, he doesn't get the steam, the initiative going right at the start of the game. Sometimes it's hard for him to find the plans.
That's fair. And what about Xchocobar style from what you've seen so far?
I mean, I think considering she's relatively new to the game, I think it's pretty straightforward what she should be doing here, trying to take this open file where the rook can attack the knight on the d8 square. So, I mean, I think the main thing she needs to remember is develop this bishop. Very important that she doesn't play b3 here, actually. B3 would be a very bad move because then black can go bishop to d4, and black will be up, will end up being up a piece. So that's the one thing that I would say is just to be very careful not to do. Is just find another way to develop. Okay, rook e1 is reasonable, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think all three results are very much in the up in the air here. And I wouldn't be shocked if this might actually end up being a draw. I'm going to make a small guess. I think there's like a 10% chance of a draw here.
Well, now she has to be careful about the tactic because Forsen is threatening to remove her knight, and then and now she just blundered a bishop.
Oops.
And now,
yeah, so that was an unfortunate blunder.
Right as soon as I'd say 10%, yeah.
Oh man, she was waiting for you to finish the prediction, but hey, I mean, she did remember your advice from the opening. It's tough to not blunder pieces when you've been playing for a week like she has.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing also is the reason that she played this pawn push to a3 is because there was a line that I showed her with the knight on f3 and bishop g4 where you play h3. So I think she automatically saw the pin and she was thinking about the knight on the other side where you go bishop g4.
Yeah. So she mixed up one of the ideas there, and something that, players always start improving is just differentiating between plans with positions and small differences with them. And now she's pushing f3, so maybe she'll activate her king, but what she would really need to do if she wants to have chances is try to develop that bishop as quickly as possible and bring the other rook to the open file here. She is down a piece, so now the chances are even more difficult. Have you seen Forsen falling victim to some blunders as well? Do you think there's a chance she might trick him?
Ooh, rook c4 is a nasty move. That's a quality move from Forsen, playing rook to c4. Yeah, he could fall for it. I mean, I think the best chance is some kind of back rank checkmate, or as Felix would call it, the patented ice skater. I think everyone's heard that term by now. So yeah, I guess we're going to listen in though.
Yep. So we're going to be seeing what Xchocobar has to say.
Okay.
Constantly attacking me like a big bully. And how do I defend this pawn? I guess I just have to.
She's seeing the direct threats and reacting to them, so that's great.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's a tough position because she's down one bishop for one pawn, and she does have the two pawns that are under attack. But I still think it's bad. It's not beyond the point where Forsen would still blunder, because I have seen him actually blunder queens kind of for free when he's been ahead by like a lot of material. So it's not completely gone, but I think at this point Forsen should win the game.
1, 2, and
I can relate with Forsen on that one. So definitely can happen to everyone here. She doesn't seem distraught.
So I go up first.
Yeah, I mean, I think so far it's pretty good in terms of position. Pushing the pawn to e4 is the best move, but it is kind of a hard move to find if you're new to the game, because it's sort of like it weakens the pawns around your king potentially. So it's a tough move to play here.
And she found it. Okay. Yeah, she was calculating it out. So
now, I mean, Forsen has to move the bishop. He needs better not make a blunder here. It feels like every move, kind of unlike professional chess, there is always a decent possibility of either player making a rather serious blunder. So you're always kind of on the edge of your seat, I think, in a different way.
So, question for you. If Forsen plays g6 and she pushes f4, which is obviously not a right move because e4 is hanging, but do you think it's risky that he might fall for f5, or that's a tactic he would see right away?
I think f4 is actually a great bluffing kind of move, because if Forsen doesn't see f5, or doesn't see the e-pawn hanging and allows f4, f5, he could end up in a lot of trouble. Oh, did she play it?
No, I was just explaining it on the board.
Okay,
Sorry, I'll stick to arrows for now to not be confusing.
But I do think it's a reasonably good like bluff blunder, because if Forsen doesn't see it, the game will become very complicated again.
And so when you're down a piece, I mean, at some point you do have to go for some bluff blunders. Otherwise, you're likely just going to lose.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And do you have Forsen stream up as well? Because maybe we can take in a look and see what he's thinking as well.
Of course.
Very good, very good. Waste more time. Yes, my man.
Yeah, see, the other thing I would say is the time really matters here.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm only laughing because of how Forsen was excited.
Not lose a piece, and I'm good.
He does have the right plan. He's trying not to lose his piece. But it might get stuck on g3 if she sees something like king g4, king f2, king g3.
Here, right.
Yeah, I really don't like bishop h3 here.
But now we can move this tower. She got that.
And we're just listening in on him, trying not to speak over him. I like that she grabbed the open file. I wonder what his response is.
This is very tricky. Also, the other thing that makes this, I think, very tricky is the time situation, because the fact that Forsen is already down 2 minutes on the clock makes this very, very dicey.
Yeah, and he's playing knight g5 now, so you've been right about his style. He goes for a very, very aggressive play. I guess there is a chance that at some point he forgets about the back rank checkmate, so it's still tricky because he's going to have to play faster and faster.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I think every move here is critical for both sides. Every single move really matters here.
So what do you think is the trickiest plan for white?
I mean, I think the thing is trying to bring the rook up to guard the pawn and then double the rooks on the d file would be the best move. But it's a tricky move. It's hard to see. But knight g5 is kind of an obvious move, because it's clear you're moving the knight towards a weird spot, and you want to take the pawn. So,
oh no! Let's see what he says after rook f1.
Oh.
Does he see it?
Oh. Ooh. He surely sees it, right?
What? Well, he's taking his time. He is hovering over his rook on c4.
What?
I'm just going to stream snipe and tell you the situation. Now he's hovering over his d-pawn.
I'm watching it too. What? What?
He said he doesn't know what to do.
I don't know.
Dude. Don't know what to do.
Dude.
Okay, we have his stream pulled up, by the way.
Joke of Twitch.
Oh, this is so intense. I love watching.
Oh, come on, dude. Come on. But he's also using way too much time.
Oh, no. He's about to push g6, Hikaru. Oh, he took it back. Oh, now the f-pawn.
What is he doing?
I don't know what to do.
Come on. Oh, my God.
I do not know.
Come on, dude.
He's getting... Oh, g6 played.
I'm just gonna wait to see what she does.
Well, he's waiting for his opponent here.
I have no idea what to do in that situation.
Yeah, that was totally missing lethal.
And let me check if we're still on him, or if we're swapping off. Okay, so he's muted again on the stream, and she just played rook f2, so she saw the threat. That was good. She fixed her mistake. That's very, very important.
Yeah, this is very, very, tricky.
I feel like you're physically in pain seeing that.
I mean, it's not that I'm in pain, but it's like I have very high expectations for Forsen. I'm not going to lie. I do think he is one of the favorites. But this is kind of one of these moments in the game where it feels like he kind of forgot He had one of those slip-ups. Luckily, it wasn't hanging a rook or a queen, but he had one of these moments where he completely just like his brain stopped working. And so I like f5 though. F5 is a good move to attack the pawn in the center.
Do you think his time situation is going to end up causing him trouble here? 255 versus 549?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really, the next couple of moves matter. If Xchocobars can avoid blundering like a bishop or a rook in the next like 3 to 4 moves, I think the time factor will play a very big role.
Yeah, and in terms of what she should go for now, I mean, she has a couple options, but what do you think is the most intuitive good move for her?
Intuitive good move. I mean, I assume White will she'll probably take the pawn. Bishop c1 is probably the best move, but it's not very intuitive.
Very hard to see.
It's moving a bishop backwards. The only person I've seen who has actually been good at moving knights and bishops backwards is Nate Hill. He's the only person I've seen who has demonstrated that ability out of the people that I've worked with. So I definitely, or I didn't work them, but that I've seen the games of. So I think I think pawn takes pawn is the move. And by the way, since chat is going insane, I am making a joke. Forsen is one of the best players here, so he's no joke.
Yeah, and that's why you have high hopes for him. I think it's actually quite a compliment to be disappointed when he misses something like that because you think it's in his ability. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he's one of the strongest players. Okay, now she makes a bad move, and I think Forsen has a little bit too much time here. He should see some good moves. Pawn takes pawn or knight takes pawn, and he should win this game pretty cleanly here.
Yeah, and he's hovering over the knight, so it looks like he is going to see that move. But Hikaru, you did say if she doesn't blunder a rook or a bishop, so she's down another pawn, but there's still some hope here.
Yeah, I mean, I think she needs to bring the king to the center of the board specifically. That's the only chance she has. Because I think at this point the material is so simplified that Forsen's going to be able to trade some rooks here, and he will have a good chance. So probably king to e3 is the best move, but it's again not very intuitive. I don't really see intuitive moves here for White. You can't really move the rook down to d8 because there's the rook. You can't move it to d7 because there's the bishop that captures it. I'm going to guess that she's going to play rook d7 here. That's my prediction. I think she's going to play rook d7. Whether Forsen sees the rook or not, I don't know. But I think rook d7 is probably the most logical move for someone who's new to
She saw king e3, Hikaru.
Yeah, so I mean that certainly improves the situation.
Yes.
It's still quite bad, of course, but I think the thing is with the piece setup, it's still like you can't really attack the king easily except if you retreat the knight. And I don't know, but somehow Forsen retreating the knight doesn't feel very intuitive based on the style that I've seen from him. So so we'll see. But he's got to move quicker too. Like he's getting the time is starting to tick. Now the time is starting to actually be a factor.
But that's why I'm so impressed with king e3 because like her pieces are so awkward here. Her pawns, her rooks, her bishop, there's not a lot of good squares. So for her to understand that she can move her king there when you're used to being worried about your king's safety, I find so impressive.
He's got to be very careful. The time is actually starting to become an issue, I think. If he doesn't move in the next 20 seconds, time is going to play a role in this game. Like this.
All right.
Oh my God.
Okay, he made a move.
Bishop, okay.
And it's a good move as well. So
right.
And now it's going to be even more difficult for her because she probably senses that her rooks are in trouble here. But I mean, she can try something like h3, which is somewhat intuitive actually because she played a3, so she might see it.
Right. I think it's a reasonable move, but I think certainly. If she can make a decent move here, this is going to be very interesting to watch as both players get down to the last minute and a half on the clock.
Oh, and I see her drawing arrows. She does see. Okay, she didn't draw an arrow for the threat that the bishop has, but she did throw some arrows for where the knight moves, and she does have h3 on the board, so she's actually considering it here.
Yeah, this is. Okay, she is 3 minutes? Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
A4 first. Okay.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, now Forsen sees that he can move the knight right away. So now she has to basically try to cheese him on the clock. Like rook d5 is the only good move here. I think Forsen has enough time that he should be able to
I think she's going to see rook d5 because she has to move her rooks from this pin. And, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, though, it's not so much about the moves. It's about whether Forsen can play the moves quickly or not. Because already the position is so bad that the time is really the only way that I think Xchocobars can win this game.
Yeah, that's fair. And she's about to lose another point here as well.
He's still thinking, though. He's still thinking, like, okay. I mean, as long as he keeps it above 1 minute, as long as he keeps his time above 1 minute, I think he will be in no danger of losing. But if the time ever gets below a minute, I think it could be dangerous.
It would be exciting to watch, though. So I will say that, chat. Even if it does happen, we'll be here enjoying the show. So rook takes c3. She might play bishop e2. Of course, the problem with that is rook takes c2 check, and she has to trade off more. So she should try and keep her pieces on for as long as possible to just keep it complicated and try to cheese him on the clock.
Right. So now king e3, of course. Very important that she goes up the board here, not back, because if she goes back, I think it's just game over. So you have to bring the king up. Oh, yeah. Now Forsen will win the game, I think, on the spot here. Both knight checks should win the game.
Yeah, and he has enough time to finish off with his attack here. And then he could bring his other rook into the game as well. Okay, yeah. He sees it.
So, yeah, so king f1. Now e3 is winning. Probably he'll play knight takes pawn, I'm guessing. But e3 is a very clean way. It creates a nice checkmate on f2.
Yeah, let's see if he goes for that. And now she's starting to get a little bit lower on the clock. Oh, no, actually, it's his turn here. Sorry.
Right,
he sees e3. Very nice.
Very nice move, yeah.
And she can try to play something like bishop e1, survive for a little longer, but it's almost
I mean, the problem is I think no matter where you move the piece, pawn to e2 next move is also winning, and pawn to e2 is the much more intuitive move for a human, I think.
Yeah. And no stalemate hopes because, she still has enough pieces that it shouldn't happen. He has mate in one. Do you think he's going to see it?
I would say it's 50-50. Okay, he doesn't. He took. But he's still, I mean, it's still, there's
still
no
totally winning.
There's just no way that he doesn't win here because if he had like 10 seconds or something, I could see it. But the fact that he's got 1 minute plus, unfortunately, I think it's just over.
But you still have the never resign attitude, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't resign just because he's got 1 minute on the clock. But again, it's Forsen. I don't think there's any way he's gonna make a mistake here.
That's fair. And given your expectations for the players, how do you think they performed in the match?
I think pretty good. I would say Forsen got caught in the opening and something he wasn't expecting, so he ended up down one pawn. But otherwise, it's been pretty good.
And he's simplifying, so he's going to trade his new promoted queen for a bishop, and now he has the 2 rooks, and I'm sure he can do a nice mating technique here.
Yeah, I think with a minute on the clock, there's no doubt. Especially with 3 pawns on the board. If White had like 1 pawn, maybe there could be some weird stalemate. But with three pawns, there's just no way that White can avoid losing here.
Right, and if he didn't have pawns, if the king would be on a square where it's not under attack.
Why is he thinking? Why is he? Yeah, like
he wants to make you nervous. He's putting on a show, Hikaru.
Okay, yeah, now he's
like this is a position that would have been stalemate if we didn't have the pawns because the king has nowhere to go.
Yeah, true.
So it's good to see him put in content. Maybe he's going to run his clock all the way down to 5 seconds just for the show.
No, there's no way that these guys would take that risk. That'd be way too dangerous.
I know. I'm just teasing. He is still she's taking her time here.
Yeah, I mean she just has to push the pawns, but unfortunately it's too much.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So let's take a look and listen to what Janet is thinking about here since she hasn't moved yet.
I don't understand. I'm lost.
She's trying to move her king.
Am I missing
Okay,
something?
She got it.
Oh. It's not checkmate yet.
Oh, that was fun to see. Okay, yeah, we're still live. We're still listening, chat.
Does he just want to make infinite stuff? It's kind of weird, buddy. Deal with it.
And now I can move the rook over and checkmate.
Yeah, rook to b1 to take away the square and then promote into a queen.
Or a rook.
Or a rook if he wants to go for style points, absolutely. He probably has auto queen.
Okay, I may have lost really hard, but I made Forsen do a lot of shit.
That's true,
Sorry.
that's true. Okay, I think we can get off of her audio now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that was honestly. A really nice attitude towards it because she knew she was the underdog and she felt good about the fact that she made Forsen really work for the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good performance by both players. Forsen's opening wasn't perfect, but in general, most of the stuff he did after that, with the exception of not taking the rook, was good.
Yeah, and I just pulled up the opening you were talking about when he pushed e4. As you mentioned, he should have tried moving his dark square bishop and going for the castle instead. He did fall into that opening trap. And on that note, let's just remind people who's up next because we do have one more game.